I want to say to all of you who fight for Ukraine and who live in Ukraine, I am proud of you. We are all proud of you.
Well, it's an emotional day in Ukraine. Russia's invasion and subsequent war on Ukraine has now surpassed the one-year mark. President Zelensky attending ceremonies of remembrance all day long while also meeting with world leaders in between. Peace is still a long way off.
After the explosion at the checkpoint, we received 6 and then 2 more patients with numerous injuries.
Nobody's going to break us. We're strong. We're Ukrainians.
We are for dialogue, yes, but the least that must happen is the bombardment of people must stop.
The West is not allowing Ukraine to negotiate. When Ukraine seemed to put forward a proposal 2 months ago on how to resolve this issue, and we took these proposals as a basis for talks, a day later, the West forbade Ukrainians to continue the talks process.
And caught in all this crossfire are people who have been forced to leave their homes. Millions abandoned their homes, jobs, and lives. And many now living abroad, not knowing what'll come next.
As you can see around me, just how chaotic it is this morning for all of these families trying to get a train or some sort of transportation.
Who knows how it will turn out for us? But the children don't have a future.
The UN estimates that tens of thousands of people have already died in this war, but that's really just a guess. They admit the actual number could be much higher. It is known that roughly 8 million people have left the country, while another 6 million fled attacks but remain within Ukraine's borders. So we want to welcome in Lauren Blanchard, joining us now from Washington, D.C.
And Lauren, you were on the ground in Poland when this war started. What's really stuck out with you since then?
Well, Matt, Nia, I mean, now looking at this a year later, it is incredible to see how this nation, Ukraine, which many thought would only last a number of days against Russia, has held up and continued to defend its homeland for now an entire year. From my time in Poland, we were just miles from the border with Ukraine, and this is where hundreds of thousands of these Ukrainian refugees, mostly mothers and children, elderly, came across in those first few weeks of this war, and just remembering their faces, their bravery, obviously just the terror that they were going through, the uncertainty that they were facing, that I think has really struck with me. And as you guys mentioned, still today, 8 million Ukrainian refugees are scattered around the world. Here in the U.S., there are more than 200,000. And for many of them, while they thought they would be able to return home at some point, as this war drags on, that possibility is becoming less and less of a reality.
Well, for younger Americans, life in a country that's at war is truly an unknown. How different do you see it for those that were on the front lines versus those that were inside the country? Was it any different?
Well, I think something is seeing all of these children come across the border into Poland. It was really incredible to see how communities would rally around them to bring them toys, strollers for mothers who were carrying, little more than their babies and perhaps a small bag. It's really incredible to see how people have tried to at least lessen the burden of war on children, knowing that their childhoods were never going to be the same, their lives were never going to be the same. Many of them left behind fathers and brothers. So war, I mean, for so many of these families, this is truly just a catastrophic event. They'll never really recover from it. But watching these mothers carrying their children to places they don't speak the language, they don't know anyone, that's really where you see just the horrific side of this war.
It truly is heartbreaking. And there's been a debate about funding this war. So how's the latest, say, infusion of cash from the U.S. being viewed on the ground right now?
Well, obviously, any amount of money is certainly welcome, not only to Ukraine, but to many of the countries around there. Humanitarian relief is obviously still needed. It's believed about 18 million Ukrainians are going to need some sort of humanitarian relief. I know I've been continuing to follow a group of folks in Poland, one of these small towns. They continue to band together to raise funds to open their own homes to these refugees, while Americans obviously obviously, we don't know exactly what it's like to be so close to that war zone. I can tell you the people around there, they continue to fight this every day and fight it through ways of not only bringing supplies, trying to get things across the border, and then, as I mentioned, opening their own homes to people who really have nowhere else to go. We've seen so many of these towns in Ukraine just absolutely reduced to rubble, and a lot of these families, they don't have family anywhere else. They don't have a place to go, and so it has been incredible to see so many communities here. Obviously, in the U.S., a number of homes have been opened, but really in Europe, as they have tried to make sure these refugees have somewhere to go and at least help them get onto their feet as much as they can.
One last question before we let you go here, Lauren. You know, you report out of D.C., you see lawmakers on a regular basis. You've also been on the ground there. I'm curious if there are any key takeaways you really want our viewers to be paying attention to moving forward.
Yeah, so in D.C., Matt and Nia, obviously everything comes down to the purse, right? Funding. Right now, more than a year ago, there is some more hesitation on whether or not to continue to give aid to Ukraine. Obviously, that is security, but also humanitarian aid. I can tell you from at least the humanitarian side, which is what I covered in Poland, that money is being used by these people, by these women and children, elderly, folks who have nothing, had to leave everything, had to leave their businesses. So there is a need for it. Obviously, there will be many conversations, many debates over the next months, possibly years, depending on how long this war drags out. But I can tell you, having seen it firsthand, this money does go to people who need it. And I think it's important for Americans to remember, for us, it's just giving away money. But for a lot of these folks overseas, it translates into a home, into a warm bed, into food.
Fox News reporter Lauren Blanchard joining us from D.C. Thank you so much for your time tonight.